Committee will come to order. Without objection, the chair is authorized to declare a recess of the committee at any time. Sorry for the delay, but we had an extra unplanned vote that took up some time, and my friend, the ranking member, Mr. Meadows, and I were both delayed, so I beat you, Mark, by like 1 minute.
You're younger than I am.
And I recognize myself for my opening statement. Since the enactment of the FITARA Act, the Federal Information Technology Acquisition and Reform Act, in 2014, this subcommittee has maintained steady and bipartisan oversight of implementation of the law. The benefits of continued oversight, which were lacking in the predecessor structural law, Klinger-Cohen, are clear. Across the government, agencies have improved federal information technology acquisition practices and management practices. In fact, the FITARA scorecard's success has led the subcommittee to incorporate other aspects of federal IT into the grades over the years. Our framework is not rigid. The subcommittee has augmented and changed the scorecard to take cognizance of other important components of federal IT, such as cybersecurity, and incorporated other constructive feedback from agencies. Today, the scorecard incorporates grades adapted from 3 additional pieces of legislation, including the Megabyte Act, the Modernizing Government Technology Act, MGT, and the Federal Information Security Management Act, FISMA. The bottom line is that the FITARA scorecard works and continues to hold agencies accountable for implementing the best IT practices. The evidence is visible today in that chart. In November 2015, the average FITARA grade was a D across all participating agencies. Over the past 4 years, agencies have incorporated new, sometimes challenging metrics and higher stakes, and yet the average overall agency grade today is trending up. It's now above a C, a full grade improvement. Not trivial. The witnesses from the Department of Homeland Security and the National Aeronautics and Space Administration who are going to testify today modeled this progress. In the 8th scorecard from June 2019, DHS and NASA received the worst grades of all agencies, D-. While there's still room for growth, the CIOs here today should be recognized for the progress they've achieved. In the 9th FITARA scorecard, today's, DHS is a B and NASA a C+. Material progress. Unfortunately for some agencies and in some categories, progress has slowed. Today, I hope to hear from our witnesses and GAO about what it takes to move beyond these hurdles to ensure efficient IT acquisition and management practices. We must continue to see the dividends from putting resources toward replacing legacy IT systems, migrating to the cloud, and maintaining a strong cyber posture. This subcommittee recognizes that each agency has its own unique attributes. Agencies vary greatly in their personnel and budget size, in the number of missions, components, and programs that fall within their purview. Large federated agencies such as DHS and NASA likely face additional challenges when implementing the best IT practices across their enterprise because of this complexity. Despite these challenges, improvements are possible. Progress in federal IT takes political will and the recognition that the CIO needs a seat at the leadership table directly and a critical role in an agency's management decisions. Both DHS and NASA scorecards reflect increased grades given their agency's commitments to give the CIO or a CIO direct reporting access to the head of the agency. Ms. Wynn, I'm pleased to see that NASA recently reversed the course on its reporting structure after the ranking member and I both expressed our concerns in writing, and we thank you for that. With the 9th scorecard, this one, our subcommittee acknowledges some other agencies have taken steps toward direct reporting structures. DHS, the AID, Department of Treasury received partial credit this cycle for having a direct report to the head of the agency and indirect reporting to an undersecretary or assistant administrator for management. For DHS, the authority to drive change in IT practices across the entire department is of the utmost importance. The DHS IG reported on numerous IT deficiencies in components, like the Federal Emergency Management Agency, that hindered the agency's recovery operations following catastrophic hurricanes and wildfires. Lives depend on FEMA doing its job and doing it well. And that's what the importance of this finding really is. Finally, I'd like to take some time to reflect on the actions of the administration regarding data center consolidation. At our last hearing, the federal CIO, Suzette Kent, testified that she would continue the push for aggressive data center closures in the Office of Management and Budget's revised Data Center Optimization Initiative policy. And after all, the law calls for that consolidation. It's explicit in the law. And we, both Mr. Meadows and myself and the subcommittee, were very gratified to hear Ms. Kent's rededication and recommitment to the explicit commitment of data center consolidation. In June, OMB released new agency data center guidance, however, that changed the entire baseline for how agencies define and count data centers. Just 1 year ago, agencies reported more than 4,700 such centers that they plan to continue to operate. In 2019, data center inventory, however, the number dropped by nearly 50% to 2,400 data centers because of a definitional change, not because of consolidation. And I think that's of concern to us because it bypasses the whole point. And whether it's deliberate or bureaucratic, one does not know. But we do not want to miss the need to achieve that goal. When we passed the MGT Act that both Mr. Meadows and I also sponsored, it was to be able to allow reinvestment in the enterprise through the savings effectuated by implementation of FITARA, primarily this, because data center consolidation is what frees up capital. That's what gives you the cost savings. If you play games with the definition of what is a data center or what constitutes consolidation, you miss the benefits. And so we want to hear more about that, but we are concerned about it. And we want to make sure that no one's playing games or doing an end run, and even if it isn't deliberate, that unwittingly we are actually evading the purpose of the law. And after all, the law is a good government law. It's a bipartisan bill to try to bring agencies into the 21st century. So we're eager to hear the testimony today, and I want to again thank my colleague, Mr. Meadows, who has always been there on this issue and then some, and I just thank him as being an equal partner in this enterprise. Thank you.